What up, G-Life? It's your boy MC Shadow back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And check out the playlist where I have all the videos and their own folders. Make the video you're looking for a lot easier. Now, what I wanted to talk about today was, like I have said, if you guys have questions, ask them. And I'll make a video talking about it if I'm able to. You know what I mean? I know homie had asked me about tattoos. I'm not allowed to discuss about tattoos, my boy. So dispensa on that video. You know what I mean? But if you have any other questions, let me know. But yeah, I was asked, what's my thoughts on, the new generation, nowadays generation, like what's my opinion on it? Do I think these youngsters ain't cutting the mustard and et cetera, et cetera? Is the game more watered down? Yeah, it is. But just because the game's more watered down doesn't mean that these youngsters, are pussies or weenies or ain't with the business or whatever. I don't know why a lot of people be talking shit. You know what I mean? Them little homies are still gonna run up and cook your cat back. You know what I'm saying? People could make fun of the way they dress or their tapers or whatever. Boy, they'll still run up and they'll gun you down, homie. You know what I'm saying? I can't talk shit and say that these youngsters are white, because that's how my little homies dress, and I know they with the business, you know what I mean? So to think otherwise is foolish. Don't ever get lost in the propaganda when you see people on here talking reckless. Just because it doesn't line up with with the way they want things done. Because if there's one thing that I have seen and heard that gets spread a lot is the false narrative or the false propaganda where they say that, well, we have our stilo already, baggy clothes, shaved heads, and Cortez and blah, etc., etc., etc. That's the stilo, and these youngsters are disrespecting by dressing the way they dress. That is not the original stilo or culture, whatever. Because if you look at all the OGs, and I have pictures on here on my channel, y'all could go and look at them. The real OGs, the one that started this shit, the one that started the neighborhoods, the first original ones that were out there doing the thing, my boy, none of them were bald, none of them had baggy clothes. All of them had tight ass clothes, or not fitted, and had ass long ass hair looking like hippies. You know what I mean? And those were the original gangsters. Those were the pioneers, the ones that set the shit all in motion. None of them were like how people describe that they are, whatever. It slowly evolved like that with time. So you can imagine them homies, when homies started now being bald and wearing baggy clothes, what they were saying about us. You know what I mean? Because obviously we're dressing different from what they, that's how it goes with time. What you want. So when people be spreading that false propaganda, it's like, don't listen to that. Have your own opinions. Don't judge somebody until you yourself actually really know, instead of going based on what people be saying. Because just because they dress like that or whatever, doesn't mean that they won't lay you out. Or it doesn't mean that they don't put in work or whatever. You know what I mean? They are with the business, and they do handle business. Is there some that are like, lames? Yeah. But just like in our generation, there was some fools that were lame as well. I mean, you know what I mean? It's no different. I get it, because people is different from what they're used to. You know what I mean? Because it's not the same stilo as yours. But just because it's not the same stilo as yours doesn't mean that that automatically means that they wrong or they lame or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I have said, I don't give a fuck what the homie looks like. If he's putting in work for the homies, if he's putting in work for the barrio, and if he ain't ranking it, if he's backing up the homies, I don't give a fuck what he looks like. If he's handling his business, homie, that's all I care about. Everything else, it's irrelevant, my boy. Why would I want to fall all G'd up and bald and everything like that if he ain't gonna be with the business? You know what I mean? All of that shit's irrelevant. You get what I'm saying? Es de lujo, right? We're right here. It's not about smoke and mirrors. It's about what motherfuckers are really doing. Looks is nothing. Anywho, that's besides the point, though. With like, okay, you know how they say, I guess this generation of youngsters doesn't have any respeto no more. They lack respect. They're not. Before, we would take criticism and we were cool with it. It was like, fuck it. But these little homies, you can't criticize them because we done and everything like that. The reason for that, I guess people must have forgot. When we were out there in the streets, our parents were a little bit different how they raised us, right? Our parents, were nicer, homie. They weren't, like that or whatever. So they ain't gonna tell us to be out there, handling this madre and shit like that. They were telling us, to be the bigger man, walk away, to don't get into trouble, to avoid all that, etc., etc. So we were used to, criticism, because that's how we were raised by our parents. But this generation is being raised by our generation. Meaning, what do we tell our kids? Don't let yourself. You better not let yourself. Nah, don't let nobody talk down to you. You better stand up for yourself. You better stick up for yourself. Blah, 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 blah. That's the message that everybody be pushing. Nah, and I hear it from everywhere. Nah, you better not let yourself. Nah, don't let no one talk down to you. Woo. So guess what happens? These youngsters, whatever. So then when you try to criticize them, my boy, they ain't gonna let themselves because that's how they were raised to be. The actions of somebody only reflects on the teachings. So if people don't like the way they're behaving, is the past generation to blame for that, meaning our generation. You see people on their tablets, kids on their tablets or whatever, they're on their tablets and not going out there playing sports or whatever because you allowed it to be that way, because you were too busy distracted doing something else. Maybe you wanted your alone time. You know what I mean? People tell me, how do I get my kids to play outside, and how come they're not on the devices like all these other kids or whatever? It's like, because I actually am out there playing with them and everything like that, instead of trying to be like a lot of the people that I know where they just tell their kids, here's the tablet, go over there, leave me alone. You know what I mean? Because they want to have their own time watching their TV shows or their social media or whatever the fuck they want to do. Acting like they're still young and in high school and shit, reminiscing. Those times are over, bro. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, it reflects on the teachings. They were brought up to behave that way. That's why they're behaving that way. If you're mad, then I'll tell you exactly who's to blame for all of this. Go to the bathroom and stare in the mirror, and bam, homie, you have your culprit right there. You know what I mean? But yeah, so just because this generation doesn't dress the way, like we were brought up or whatever, it doesn't make them weak or weenies or none of that. It's ridiculous to think so. Them fools will still pimp your cat back. Just because you see a few videos online of some idiots or whatever, that doesn't speak for the whole entire groups. You know what I mean? It's foolish to think so. You know what I mean? But like I said, I know people are probably not gonna like my answers and everything like that. But like I have always said, I'm only here to call it for what it is and give my honest opinions on it. You know what I mean? I don't just come on here just to say what people want me to say. You know what I mean? I come to speak my mind, but I'm just saying, shut up, we up.